Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Delia and today we're talking about my favorite topic, plants. So as you guys can see, I have a lot of plants, but it didn't start out this way. So if you're watching this video and you're like, I can't take care of that many plants, like they're all gonna die. For context as to where I started, my first plant I got my sophomore year of college, I believe. It was this cute little bamboo plant from Trader Joe's. I got it, put it behind a windowsill because, you know, plants need sunlight. And then I just like went on with my life and just forgot about it. And I come back 6 months later, open up the curtains, and the plant is black. So the purpose of this video is to show you how not to do what I did when I was a sophomore in college. Okay, so we're going to discuss the plants I have, the cost of each plant, the watering schedule I have, the sunlight requirements for the plants, and pests that I've experienced and how I've dealt with them. So I'm not an expert. I've honestly just been taking care of plants for the past year, and I just want to share with you guys the plants I have along with some tips and tricks that I've learned along the way. I'm very much a beginner plant person, and maybe in like 6 months all these plants will be dead. Who knows? But so far I've been able to take care of them, and I'm hoping that I can just like share with you guys some of the things I've learned along my plant journey. Yeah, let's get started. So the first plant we're going to start off with is this cactus. I have had it for about a year now, and I got it for Trader Joe's for about $5. I'm also going to tell you guys the price of the plants. I find that plants can be a pricey hobby depending on the type of plants you're getting and like depending on where you're buying them from. So hopefully you'll get some tips on where to buy your plants. So like I said, I got this plant from Trader Joe's. It cost me about $5. And when I first got this plant, it was root bound. So when a plant is root bound, you can check by taking it out of the pot and you'll see the roots wrap around itself. And I did that the first time I got the plant. Well, actually what happened was I got this plant, I dropped this plant on the ground, it fell out of its pot, and then I saw that the roots were wrapping around the plant, and I was like, oh, that's really cute. I didn't realize plants did that. Then I just put it back in the pot and sat it there for like 3 months, and I was like, why is my cactus not growing? And then I realized, oh, maybe I should repot it. Maybe this cute thing I thought the roots did is actually the roots strangling themselves and crying for help. So make sure you check your plants when you first get them. Just pull them out of the pot and make sure the roots aren't wrapping around themselves. If they are, that's a good indication that you should repot it. Another thing is, I first had this plant in like a dark location, and like these plants are cute. So when you get it, you might want to put it in the corner of your room, you might want to put it on your desk, you might want to put it in your bathroom, just like some cute aesthetic place. Don't do that. Please don't do that. Mainly because cacti love sunlight. They grow in the desert. And so the two things they need are sunlight and water. I water about once every 2 weeks, and sometimes I just forget about it and then water it when I can. So yeah. Okay, the next plant we're going to talk about is the second plant I have. It's my aloe vera. So I have this big one right here, and then this cute little one right here. So aloe vera like to be watered about once a week in the summertime, about twice a week in the winter time. With my aloe vera, like all of my plants, I bottom water it. So I stick it in a tub of water and just let it soak up as much water as it needs. Another thing with aloe vera, as you guys might be able to see, let me come closer. So I cut myself and I used some of the gel of this plant just before I put a bandage on. So aloe vera does have good like health and healing benefits, but if you do cut from your plant, it's not going to keep growing. It's just going to seal itself off in that area. So I would say if you're going to use your aloe vera, a lot if you're going to use it for like your skin or for other things. Make sure you get a bigger plant. So overview, aloe vera cost me $5. Got it from Facebook Marketplace. Water it once a week in the summer and once every 2 weeks in the winter. Yeah. So these are my snake plants. As you guys can see, I have 1, 2, 3 of these plants. I got this snake plant for $5 from Facebook Marketplace. This snake plant for $5 from Facebook Marketplace. And these plants, along with my aloe vera, came with the pot, so it was nice. I didn't have to buy a pot. That's definitely the perk of buying plants on Facebook Marketplace, is they already come potted most of the time. And then I got, let me not drop it, this snake plant for $20 at Schnucks, which is a grocery store here where I live. So let's talk about the snake plant. So the snake plant is a plant I recommend if you are the lowest maintenance plant person. Like if you want a set it and forget it kind of plant, the snake plant is for you. And if you also don't get that much light in your apartment or where you live, the snake plant is another good low light plant. In terms of the care of this plant, I really kind of just water this plant every once in a while. So let me show you guys a cool gadget I use to determine when to water my plants. Give me 1 second. Yeah. I use this. It's a moisture meter that I got from Amazon, and this is what I use to determine if my plants need water on the weeks where I've like kind of just forgotten when I've watered my plants and I just want to double check so I don't overwater them. Or you can like stick your finger into the pot, so you'll just kind of like stick your finger in and you stick it to like the middle, and then you can figure out whether the plant needs water. But I have 22 plants. I don't want to stick my finger in all 22 plants. For my snake plant, because this plant doesn't really need a lot of water and prefers to stay dry, I don't water all too often. But since I don't water all too often, I kind of forget when I've watered it. So the moisture meter comes in handy with this plant. So as you guys can see, this plant is dry and will definitely be watered this week. Okay, I'm really excited about the next plants we're going to talk about, mainly because they're just really easy to take care of, and I think they're really pretty plants. And I bet you every person who like has had plants for a long time or like has tried plants has probably had a pothos at some point in their life. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Let me show you guys how long this pothos is. Okay, let's talk pothos. So I have 4, this 1, 2, 3, and that long one is 4 Marble Queen pothos. The reason it's called a Marble Queen is you can see that the leaves have a certain type of marbling. These 3 in the white pots, I got these from Home Depot. I painted the pots white myself just using some regular paint, but they were about $8 each for the 3, and that long one I got from Facebook Marketplace, and the lady gave it to me for like $7. So that was a steal. She was moving out and she was like, please take this plant. I can't have this many plants to move. So check Facebook Marketplace if you're looking for plants. What I really like about the pothos is they're good like medium to low light plants. They will thrive in bright light, they'll do really well in medium light, and they'll do okay in low light. So you can put them in lots of places around your apartment. Just don't put them in direct sunlight. So that means like Don't put them right in front of a window sill. That might not be ideal unless you have curtains covering that window. I keep mine on this bookshelf behind me, and the light comes from like my living room, so it's in about a medium light situation. And the watering, I water these about once a week. I 10 out of 10 recommend getting this plant if you are a starter plant person. They're really beautiful. They're pretty easy to take care of, and as you guys can see, they just like grow, and they will either trail down, or if you put them on a pole, they'll climb up. So very much an easy plant to take care of, and I recommend Pothos to almost all my friends. The next Pothos I want to show you guys. So I got this Pothos on Facebook Marketplace, and I'm a little embarrassed about the price I bought this Pothos at. So this is an Enjoy Pothos, and I bought it for $18. And I know, I'm kind of mad at myself, but I was eyeing this one. I couldn't really find it, found it on Facebook Marketplace, and so I just like went and snatched it up before someone else did. This Pothos is fairly easy to take care of as well. I haven't had any issues with it yet. It does take about the same amount of light as my other Pothos, but I find that it prefers brighter light to lower light. So yeah, I really like this one. And again, this is the Enjoy Pothos. The Monstera. Let's do it. So I have, oh my God, hit myself in the eye. So I have this big one. 1, 2, 3 Monsteras. I don't have plant favorites. I think I like all my plants the same. Final last words of like every parent. But I feel like the Monstera is one of the most eye-catching plants that I have in my apartment, simply because their leaves are so beautiful, and their leaves get huge. Like, for context, this is my hand. This is the leaf. Hand, leaf. These plants get large. So that's one of the reasons I think it's like up there in plants that I really enjoy, is just because they make such a big statement in an apartment. And in terms of like where I got them, their cost, care, but I got this big one for $20 on Facebook Marketplace. I got this one for $10 from the same buyer on Facebook Marketplace. And I got this one from a different buyer for $15 on Facebook Marketplace. I water them about once a week. You can top water all your plants. When I first started, I just top watered them all and waited for the water to drain out. This one gets medium light. This one also gets medium light, and then this one I would say gets the brightest light. And I did that on purpose, simply because it has more leaves, it's a bigger plant, and so it's gonna need a bit more light. In terms of pest, I'm not quite sure if my fungus gnats came from this Monstera or my bird of paradise, but we're gonna talk about fungus gnat care. That's the main pest I've found that I've had with this big Monstera. These two, I haven't seen any pests yet. I was listening to a plant podcast once. This is how you know the addiction is a little too much, because I listened to a plant podcast. But I was listening to a plant podcast, and the woman was like, if you're a plant parent who hasn't had pests, you just aren't looking close enough. So fungus gnats are a pretty common pest with plants. But yeah, with my Monstera, the key things are keep it in a medium light if it's a little bit smaller, and brighter light if it's a little bit larger, and you just kind of watch it grow. Like, there's a new leaf growing on this side, and if you look at this one, there's like a new leaf coming from here. This big one, I've had a couple new leaves come in. I'm gonna put these aside so I can talk about how I'm planning on making this one even larger. So as you can see, there are these little roots and they're called aerial roots. If you go ahead and put these roots in water, they'll grow, and then when they grow, you can put them into the soil, and from there you have a new root system, and plants are gonna come out of that root system. So what I do is I just take a empty spice jar, I place this root in water, and you can see that it just started to grow. I change out the water for my aerial roots like once every 3 days, to be honest, or like once a week. I just kind of check to see when it's getting a little cloudy. So I wanted to show you guys the second aerial root. This is the aerial root, and I put it in water. I will pop it out so you guys can see the root. The reason I haven't put the roots directly in the soil yet is simply because they're not long enough. This is like my first time doing this, so this is just the information that I have gathered. I will keep you guys updated on whether the roots get long enough. Hopefully I don't get root rot before they're long enough to put them in the soil, but we're going on this journey together, so I'll keep y'all updated. Okay. The next plant we're going to talk about is my bird of paradise. It is, And this plant has a special place in my heart, mainly because it was the first like hard plant I got. It was my leap of faith plant. I had this app called Planta that I first downloaded when I was learning how to like take care of plants, and it was really good at reminding me to water my plants, and also really good at like telling me like what type of light the plants need. So when I got this plant, I like took a picture of it, put it into Planta, and it classified it as a harder plant to take care of. So I kind of like, this is gonna sound lame, but I like made a promise to myself. I was like, okay, I have some easier plants. I've been able to take care of them for a month. If I can take care of this bird of paradise fairly well for like a month to 2 months, and it's a hard plant, then I trust myself to take care of a lot of other plants. And so that's like the backstory with this plant. It's a sentimental plant to me because it's been like proof that I can do the plant thing. I can take care of plants. Okay, enough of that. Let's actually talk about what you need to do, or what I would suggest doing if you have a bird of paradise. So this plant is a tropical plant. It likes a lot of bright light. So I keep this plant right next to a window, and keeping it right next to the window has helped it thrive, or has helped it thrive in my definition of thriving. I think it's doing well, but like, who knows? But if you guys can see, you can kind of see the leaves. So this leaf is newer, and this leaf is newer. There's 2 plants, so there's this plant and this plant. They're in the same pot. So you can see this plant's also gonna sprout a new leaf, and this one's gonna sprout a new leaf. So hopefully this summer I will have 2 new leaves, which is exciting. But this plant I got from a grocery store in Missouri called Schnucks, and I got it for $20. It was like $19.98 or something. So in terms of taking care of it, I water this plant once a week. So I was really like scared of taking care of this plant, and so I first like would make sure the soil never really got dry. Water would collect in the soil, and so then fungus gnats appeared, and fungus gnats like really damp soil. So I put, it's kind of gross, but y'all can kind of see, I put this like yellow little sticky trap in there, and I've been able to like collect some of the adult fungus gnats. And in order to take care of like any fungus gnat larvae, I think it's larvae, or larva, larvae. I think it's larvae. Anyway, any gnat larvae that might still be in the soil, I use 4 tablespoons of this to every 1 gallon of water, And what I do is I heat up the water and make sure it's not like scorching hot because you don't want to kill off the mosquito bits. Mix it up and then pour it into the plant, and that would help kill some of the larvae that are inside the plant. And then I also have poured some of this on top, so every time I water the plant, I water from the top just to make sure that the mosquito bits kind of soak through, and I can kill any extra fungus gnats. So I have seen the infestation has gone down, and so I'm regularly treating this plant. I've been doing this for about 2 weeks now, so I think I'll do it for like 2 more weeks and then kind of assess. And the way I'm assessing is just checking the sticky trap. That's fungus gnats. The next issue I dealt with on this plant was scale. So scales, what they do is they'll like sit on the plant and they'll kind of suck from the sap of the plant, so you'll get this like dewy residue. And at first, like, I couldn't tell that they were scale, especially because I didn't really have that many to start off with, but I didn't start to notice these like small white spots on my plant. And then when I looked really closely, I saw that they were little insects. And so what I did was I got neem oil, took 2 paper towels, I would spray the bottom and the top of the plant, and then go through and just wipe off the neem oil and try to wipe off any scale. So scale really like to like stick on the plant. They really attach themselves on there, so you have to like make sure you go in with enough pressure to like pull off the scale. And let me tell you, this doesn't smell the best, but it's been effective in killing off any like bugs that I've seen. But so far so good. I haven't seen any more pop up, and if they do pop up, I will keep you guys updated. But yeah, this is the bird of paradise. Okay, so the next plant in my collection. The thing I love about this plant here. Oh, it's heavy. Okay. Do you see how the leaves look like little flowers? Especially with like the variegation. I actually got it from a seller that I had bought another plant from. I ended up reselling that plant because it's gonna sound really vague. It didn't fit my aesthetic, so I didn't keep the plant. And then I saw that the same seller was selling this umbrella plant, so I got it from her for 20 bucks. And she gave it to me at a reduced price simply because of the fact that I had bought from her before. If you identify plant sellers on Facebook Marketplace, you can create a really good history with them. And like, I've done that where I've seen like the same person and they've wanted to buy some plants from me, and so I've sold it to them at like a reduced rate simply because like we have a history. So just a cool tip is like try to buy your plants from the same person, and like maybe they'll give you a discount. Be nice. I don't know. Enough of the backstory. Let's actually talk about this plant and how to take care of it. So for context, I got this plant, I want to say a month ago, maybe a month and a half ago. So this is one of the newer plants in my collection. And every time I get a plant from Facebook Marketplace, from the store, wherever I get it, I take the plant out of the basket, I put it in the shower, and I just rinse off the plant in order to rinse off any dust, to rinse off any like insects that might be on it. And then I spray my plants with neem oil and I quarantine them, so I put them in a section that's far away from all my other plants for 5 days. 5 days to a week, just to make sure they're good before I put them in their actual location in the living room. In terms of taking care of this plant, so this plant likes bright light. Also water it about once a week, but I might actually reduce when I water this plant, so I'll show you guys. I'm still trying to figure out how often to water this plant. So what I do is I take my plant meter like I showed you guys, I pop it in, and okay, the plant got heavy, so I put it down. You can see the plant meter goes from dry to wet, and when I put it in the plant, it went to the blue side wet. And I watered this plant last week, and the soil is still wet, so I'm thinking that it doesn't take as much like water. It takes a bit longer for the soil to dry out. Yeah, I think this is the last like plant in soil plants that I'm propagating. I'm stepping in 2 weeks later with some good news, but also some tragic news. So, we'll start with the tragic news. I realized the reason my umbrella tree has not been drying out, or the soil has not been drying out, is because of the fact that it most likely has root rot. It needs to be repotted. It is tragic. I was a little sad about it, but what gave me hope, it's the fact that it's still growing. And so I think that the root rot isn't that bad, and I will show you guys when I repot it what that process is like. And I'll also repot my bird of paradise as well, because that plant is outgrowing its container, which is good because it means it's growing, but also means I have some work to do. So yeah, that's the tragic news, but we can get to the like medium-ish news. When I was filming the video, I forgot to tell you guys, I have 4 spider plants. My plant count 2 weeks ago was 23, including the spider plant. But then I was scrolling on Facebook Marketplace and I came across this plant. So let's just appreciate this plant for a quick second. Do we see how pretty and pink this plant is? Yes, the only reason I got this plant is because it was pink. I did not need this plant. I only wanted this plant. Did I make that decision in like 5 minutes? Yeah. Do I regret the decision? No. Am I going to keep making decisions like this? Probably not. Hopefully not. But yeah, so this plant is called the Tricolor Stramanthe, I believe, or the tricolor prayer plant. And I got it from Facebook Marketplace for $25. I got this little planter from Target for like $5. I've been watering this plant once a week, and I keep it in medium to bright light, but more on the bright light side. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to comment, like, and subscribe. And I'm really interested in knowing what plants you guys have. Feel free to ask me any questions in the comment section or on my Instagram if you have further questions on the plants I have. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.